Have you ever noticed that the moment you walk into your parents' house, you're suddenly 12 years old again? You're quieter, more careful, more responsible, more defensive, maybe even more rebellious. Even though you've done years of therapy, you've read the books, you've built a completely different life. Why does it all disappear so quickly? So picture yourself driving to your parents' house. At some point, maybe when you see the exit sign, maybe when you turn onto the familiar street, something shifts in your body. Your shoulders kind of lift. Your breathing gets shallower. You're bracing. You haven't even opened the car door, but your nervous system already knows where you are. And before you even said hello, you're becoming the version of yourself that this family system recognizes. So you're sitting around the dinner table. Someone makes a comment. Outside this house, you would probably say, that doesn't work for me. You'd set a boundary. You'd speak honestly. But here, something happens. Your throat tightens, your stomach clenches, and instead of speaking, you smile, nod, and you become the easy daughter again, or the responsible one, the peacemaker, the invisible one. Your opinions get smaller, your voice gets quieter, your presence just gets less. And maybe the hardest part is that you know it's happening. You can feel yourself disappearing in real time, but you can't seem to stop it. I know this one personally. There have been moments when I've left family gatherings wondering, where did I even go? Outside that environment, I know exactly who I am. And then suddenly, I'm managing the room before I even realize I'm doing it. For a long time, I thought that meant all the inner work I'd done had disappeared. It hadn't. So Carl Jung called these complexes. They're emotional patterns that become organized around our earliest experiences. They're not simply memories. They're ways your psyche learned to survive. When you're a child, you don't ask, who do I want to become? You ask, who do I need to be to belong here? Maybe you became the caretaker, the achiever, the quiet one, the invisible one, the peacekeeper. Those weren't personality traits. They were brilliant adaptations. And because they were learned so early, your nervous system still recognizes that environment as if nothing has changed. Your adult mind knows you're 45. Your body still remembers being 7. So when you return to the environment, your nervous system doesn't ask, who am I now? It asks, who do I need to become here to stay safe? That's why awareness alone often isn't enough, because this isn't simply a thought. It's a pattern your whole system learned long before you had words for it. This is actually one of the reasons I use astrology in my work. Not because I believe your natal chart determines your personality, and not because I'm trying to predict your relationship with your parents, but because I use the chart as a map. When someone comes to me saying, I become a different person around my family, one of the first places I become curious about is their moon, their 4th house, and the IC. Those parts of the chart often tell the story of the emotional environment your nervous system first adapted to. I'm not looking for what's wrong with someone. I'm looking for the protective strategies they developed before they had a choice. That's why I call it unconscious patterns reading. The chart helps locate the pattern. Jungian psychology helps us understand what it was protecting. And somatic work helps your nervous system discover that it doesn't have to keep running the same strategy forever. Because insight alone doesn't create change. So if this happens to you, it doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean your work disappeared. It means you found one of your deepest unconscious patterns. And that's actually valuable information. So the first step isn't trying to force yourself to act differently. It's noticing, oh, there's that peacekeeper again. There's the little girl who learned not to take up too much space. Then gently remind yourself, this isn't 1992. I'm not 12 anymore. I have choices now. My nervous system hasn't caught up yet, but it can, little by little, visit by visit, conversation by conversation. You begin staying just a little bit more yourself. Not because you're fighting the pattern, but because you're integrating it. If this resonated, this is exactly the kind of work I do inside my unconscious patterns reading. We use your natal chart to uncover the unconscious protective patterns most likely shaping your relationships, self-worth, and emotional life. Then we explore them through Jungian psychology and begin the integration process with somatic practices. Because the goal isn't simply understanding yourself better. It's finally becoming free enough to stop repeating the patterns that no longer serve you. So I'd love to know, what version of yourself do you become around your family? Let me know in the comments. See you next week.